going on, everybody? Looks like we're alive. I guess I better fix this chat so everybody can see it. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. What's going on, Clint? What's going on, Steven? Good to see y'all. So I'm going to share these links. Clint, that list I sent you, we'll work on that, and we'll take. I'll make sure I'm not muted here. We'll work on that and take care of that Tuesday. I'll go ahead and do what I normally do, and then I didn't even send you a link anyway. Shit, I'm slacking. I am slacking, man. Yeah. I forgot to send you a link anyway. Damn. I am slacking. All right, let's see. Here we go. There's the link. Make sure. Yeah, looks good when I share it that way. Let's see. Let's see if I can try to share it this way. How well that'll work. Got through my little list here in the groups. Got them all pulled up. Let's see if this will work. How well this does. Check the militia page and see what it looks like on there. Looks good. All right, so that works as well. So we'll try it that way. Good deal. It's going to be slow, though, so bear with me. Definitely going to be slower. But takes another step out, so it'll be all right. Let me go through my list here. See how many we can do before they put the brakes on me. We shall see. Might be able to share them all this way. Hell, you never know. I got everything written down now, so it's going to make it a little bit easier. And try to share it to the larger groups first, just simply because there's more people to get exposed to and more people to ask questions. So bear with us. I think Clint said he's going to do some magic tricks while I do this, y'all. We'll see how many they'll let me do. I'm curious to see how many doing it this way. It might be a little different. I don't know. We'll have to see. So we shall see. Be nice if I can share them all and not have to fool with it again, but I don't know. I just don't know. And hopefully I didn't share a link twice. If I did, I'm sorry. All right, got those done. So let's go back and see if I can share to some of these others. Yes, bear with me. I hate having to do this every week. I really wish that Facebook would make it easy so I could just pull up a list and go down it. I don't even see this one. There it is. So bear with me. It's a slow process, but so far so good. Just let me share, I think, a little bit more than usual. So maybe this will be the new way to do it. If it's a little slower, it's all right. If it takes a little bit long, nah, damn it, it stopped there. So let me see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. That's pathetic. Do better, Facebook. So where did I stop? What group is this? Well, it doesn't even say the group. Okay, so now let me check this real quick. Let me look at my groups, see if it posted in this one. Yeah, that didn't do any better. I just soon do it the other way if that's what it's going to be. I thought it might work a little better, but it did not. Where in the heck is that group? Trying to attract some people from some of these groups that really get off topic. Yeah, it's in there. Okay, good deal. They get off topic, so that's where I stopped. Yeah, so that's where I'll pick up. Oops. Went too far with that. There we go. Bear with me. It's slow. I know. I hate having to do this every week. All right. I'm finally back. I try not to, man. But I try not to. I got the links to Clint like a couple of hours ago. So I should have done that Wednesday. But I got my taxes done and all that. Got a few things taken care of this week that are important. Insurance stuff and a lot of things like that. So that's all good. What's going on, Patty? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hope you're doing well. You at work? Patch them up, Patty. Thank you, sir. What's going on, Mike? Got 2 Michaels in the house. Maybe more than that. Oh, you don't patch them. You bust them up. Bust them up. Get them out of here. God bless you as well, sir. What's going on, Monty? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Mash Brothers in the house. What's going on, man? Do you need to do a double run? I need to do about a double shot. It's another one of them days I ain't feeling good. What's going on, O'Sheen? Tell me what's happening with your skin, brother. I think need to take that thumper off that damn thing, run her straight, or put a bypass on it. Yeah, I need that. Tastes a little funny. Yeah, I think you need to put a bypass on that thing or just run it straight through. Working on the house. Awesome, awesome. What's going on, Ranch Man? Good to see you, brother. We're all just sitting around chilling, brother, waiting on the first question, having a drink or two. I need to try some of that. That's one of mine, too. I think it's that peach. It tastes a little funny. 13-gallon electric, that's good. Actually, back in the old days, I loved the thumper because I could put tails in it. And after I did the bypass, right before the bypass, I quit using the thumper because I was getting smearing like ocean. And no matter what I did, I kept getting smearing until I came up with the bypass. So I quit using it for a long time until I came up with the bypass. But I really liked using it to run the tails, right? Because I like that extra, production and getting the alcohol out of those tails. I feel like I was getting something for free, something extra, right? So I always like that. Moonshine is what percent alcohol? It's whatever you proof it down to. Most of mine 100 to 130, depending on what it is. I like it. I like it a little stronger than a lot of people, but it just depends on uh, what it is. I like a lot of brandies tend to be a little lower in proof. 80, 90 proof. A lot of brandies, 80, 90, 60 to 80, 90. Whiskeys, anywhere from, 80 to 130. But, yeah, just, a lot of times what I generally do is I'll take my distillate and I'll just start adding water to it and proofing it and tasting it and add more water and add more water. And when I get to the point where I like the way it tastes, then I'll check the proof and then I'll proof the rest of it down to that. So especially when I do brandies, I'll do that. No plate column, huh? That's just a big long spool then. So you get some passive reflux out of it. What's going on, Justin? Good to see you, brother. In Missouri, the state where everybody wishes they were, especially now that the new Supreme Court. I have done some reading up on the Supreme Court laws, and I will add that it's probably not as advantageous as we thought. I pulled up the legal brief on it, the actual court papers on it. So basically, what the law used to be was no matter whether you was legal or not, you couldn't distill in your home, right? They would, the TTB would not issue any licenses to someone distilling in their home. So that eliminated home distilling and hobby distilling. So the HDA, I guess, Hobby Distillers Association, challenged that law because, they're trying to make it to where you can do it in the home. But they're still going through the TTB and getting a permit, and they're still, so it's not just like, it's legal, everybody can do it now. No. So you still have to do it federally through the TTB and get a permit. It definitely would help if you were like in Missouri, in a state that would permit it. But if I were in Missouri, I wouldn't worry too much about it because, the state permits it. And I don't think federal, especially now that this new rulings come out, are going to, affect anything. But basically what they're saying is by not allowing someone to distill in their own home with a permit, the government is basically limiting the amount of tax that they can get. And that goes against the tax and the reason for the whole taxation to increase money to the government. So that they said it was counterintuitive and therefore it went against the rules. So that's basically what this is enabling people to join the Hobby Distilling Association and apply for TTB permits and be able to do it in the house. Now, you still may have to deal with the state and state laws and regulations, and it's still most states aren't going to permit it at this point. So it's not quite what we thought it was. It basically just says that if legit and legal, you can now do it in the home or on your home premises. It doesn't have to be like a separate building, but there's still going to be regulations that you have to follow. I'm sure you're going to have to be so many feet, and there's probably state regulations, a lot of state regulations that'll have to be followed as well. But so it's not quite as good as what we thought, but it is a step in the right direction. So yeah, I'm feeling a little better. I appreciate y'all. No, it would taste pretty much like anything else. Moonshine basically is just untaxed alcohol. Um, that's it. So there's lots of different distillates. You've got rum. We've got corn liquor. That makes whiskey. We got multi-grains. We got brandies. We've got gins. Just tequila. Moonshiners can make any of that. We can make it all. We talk about making it all. Honey shine, mead shine, whatever. So basically, moonshine is just an untaxed liquor. So, and it's usually made at home, and characteristically in the past, probably wasn't cut the best. So a lot of times it had a little bit of heads, a little bit of tails mixed in it because of greed and lack of education in distilling, which is kind of why we're here. But they, didn't make cuts properly, and they didn't age it right. Nobody kept that moonshine around long because they didn't want to get busted. That's awesome. So they, a lot of times moonshine kind of got the characteristic. It all tastes the same because it was tastes like heads, and heads, pretty much taste like acetone, and a lot of people are like, all that moonshine tastes the same. All of it that just tastes like all the same, and it's because it's got heads in it, and they're tasting acetone. So, but if you have properly cut alcohol that a moonshiner made, it's as good as, and sometimes often better than anything you can buy off the shelf. I've tasted moonshiners tequila that, well, I used to drink a lot of tequila back in the day, and I drank some top shelf tequila. None of them can touch a buddy of mine. It's the best tequila I've ever drank, and he's not, he's a moonshiner. And the same with a lot of other distillates. I've Derek and Joe and Toby and shoot, I could sit here and name so many people that make as good liquor as you can buy off a shelf. So it's it's in heck, blackberry brandy, Sandman's blackberry brandy, old Wes's, some of the best shit you'll ever drink, man. So and good cuts. So everybody that's associating moonshine with high proof heads, that's basically the reputation that it has, and we're trying to help that. We're trying to make moonshine better. So it depends on where you get it, but generally in the past it's always been kind of headsy, just simply because of greed and lack of education and just wanting to make more money and getting into the heads a little more than they should, into the tails a little more than they should, mixing it all up, bottling it up, getting it out of there. That was how the business was done. 80 to 90 is good. Yeah. Blue Hopi. Awesome, brother. That's going to be some good stuff, man. That Ohio Blue and that Blue Hopi both are good corns. They're sweet. That's good to hear, man. Yeah, glad you made it. I was wondering where you were last week. I want to talk about you smearing. I'd take that infuser off, and if you could elevate that thumper and get it closer to the steel output, closer to your lid arm output, and less than that, you have less temperature drop between the steel and the thumper, and so you're going to have less buildup before it starts to redistill again. Also, putting a drain in there. If you don't put a bypass in it, at least put a drain in it. That way, when you hit your heads, drain everything out of that thumper, and then shut it down, and then that way you're just getting, hearts through there, and you can get all the heads out of your thumper. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know, man. I can't believe that there's recreational marijuana before, you know, distilling's legal. I always thought it'd be the opposite. I thought people would be able to distill. It's part of the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's if it's all about taxes, then that's fine. But I grew a garden and I ate the food. So am I tax evading if I'm growing my own food and not paying tax on groceries, which a lot of times you don't pay tax on anyway? But right, so I can make my own beer and I can make my own wine, and that's taxed. So just because you have a higher percentage of tax on distilled beverages, that shouldn't be, that shouldn't fall in there. So I always thought that distilling would be nationally legal long before marijuana would ever be. But here we are in 2026 and everything's backwards, and it's crazy. I do need to try. This honey shine's gotten better. Definitely gotten better. It's about a 90 proof, I'm guessing. Yeah, untaxed and unaged, which, it's not mature. So so generally you have to make tighter cuts when you do a white dog or a shine. You have to make tighter cuts. You don't dip into the heads a little bit and into the tails a little bit. You can do that when you're aging because the esters in those heads will mix with the organic acids that are in the distillate and the oils in the upper tails, and they'll esterify, and they make good flavors over time. They make good floral sweet flavors over time. So for aging, that's fine. But for, if you're drinking stuff straight off the tap as a white dog, you definitely have to make really tight cuts. You're welcome. Well, it's red tape. They got so many regulations and so many people overseeing, and you got people overseeing the people that oversee, and it has to go through so many committees, and just that case alone has been like 4 years, and then two years, and then another year and a half almost before they ruled, and yeah, so the case took like a couple of years, and then I think it went like a year and a half before the appeals court, and then the appeals court ruled on it, and then uh, I think it took them a while to actually rule after it was heard. So, but yeah, it's people in the Hobby Distillers Association will probably be able to get a TTB permit pretty easily. And then they're just going to leave it up to your state. So you're still going to have to follow state rules and regs, and a lot of states may not allow it. So it's going to be good. We'll just have to see. There's going to be challenges. What's going on, GW? Good to see you, brother. It's funny. I know a lot of people that make moonshine don't even drink. I know quite a few. They make shine and they don't even drink, man. They don't even taste to make cuts and stuff. They give it away, but they love making it. All right, brother. All right. Good to see you, man. You drunk tonight? Well, shit. I got catching up to do then, GW. Damn it. You got a head start on me. Of course, if GW's drunk, he probably started around lunchtime. I went for a while without drinking. After my daughter was born, I quit smoking. Uh, well, I quit smoking the left-handed cigarettes and quit drinking for quite a while, and then I quit smoking cigarettes. But after I separated from my ex. I started drinking again. I might start smoking again too. I don't know. But I drink in moderation, right? All right, got someone who wants to make a rye whiskey that is similar to Templeton rye whiskey, which is about 90%, 95% rye, 5% barley. Any recommendations, tips, or pointers on this mash bill? Yeah, I would definitely get some of that Sebamil. Uh, what's that stuff? Clint uses it a lot. It works real good on glutens, and I think it's Sebamil if I'm not mistaken. But it's an enzyme that'll help break down a lot of the glutteny because rye and wheat and those grassy grains like that, they get real. You know how corn gelatinizes. This gets real gummy, and so it helps break that up. So that I would definitely recommend doing that. Um, malted rye is real good. So maybe doing some malting and using malted instead of you can of course use the high temp amylase and all that, but cooking temperature is going to be different. Cooking it's going to be quite different because there's no corn, so you're going to have temperature differences in making it. Let me pull up a little chart here for you. um, so rye, a malted rye is probably going to be around, I'm just guessing, 145, 55, thinking 140 and change, somewhere in that range. Let me pull up my chart here. It's hard for me to remember them all, but I think it's around that. Here we go. So let's see where we at. Where we at? Barley malt's around 100. Well, let me take out this chat here so I can see, and let me take that out so I can see. So rye, the upper end is about 142. A malted rye is going to be a little bit higher, so I would say, I would start cooking it at about 150, about the same as a malted barley, right at about 150. Add your malted rye and your malted barley and just start working backwards from there, and and cook it. Probably not going to take as long as like a corn to gelatinize, but I'd cook it at 150 for a good hour, and then you're still going to want to use alpha amylase and the glucanase, but with it malted, you can probably get by without it if it's all malted. But I'd put a little bit in there just to help with the conversions. But this is for just rye. This is not a malted rye. So, but you definitely don't want to get too high to where you denature everything. So maybe 145 to 50. That'll be good. But even if you do, if you put a little high temp in there and put some glucose, that'll be sure to help do the conversions. But it's definitely going to be pretty tough. If it's their first time, I wouldn't recommend it. It is a tough mash bill because it's an all grain like that. It's going to get really gummy. I've never done anyone like that, with all wheat. If I did one, probably be all wheat. But yeah, it's going to get pretty gummy. What Cleon will tell you what that stuff is. I think it's Sebamil. Well, actually, GW, they said the unconstitutional part was telling you that you couldn't do it in your home, but they're saying you still have to have the TTB permit. So I don't know. I read the case. Let's see. I don't know if I don't know. I'm not going to I will put it in the groups though. I'll put it in the militia and in the DIY group, and so everybody can read it. It's not quite what we thought, but it is a step in the right direction. Yeah, it can be. But if you use the high temp and the glucose along with it, you're going to get decent conversion. Just want to make sure that you get the starch out of it, right? So, um, and the finer grind, you get a lot more peppery. Is going to get more spice out of it. So, uh, yeah, it's going to be quite spicy. That should be good. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Don't say it ain't so, man. I know a lot of people that were mad. They're like, "You mean it's legal now? Hell, I'm gonna quit." I think they do it just to feel like they're getting one over on them. That might be what some of those people don't even drink do it for. They don't even drink. They're making moonshine. I'm like, damn. I need more friends like that. Make it for me. Yeah, beta glucanase. Well, what's that sebamil mix that's got that combination of beta and gluco? I think it was sebamil, but I can't remember. Are you drinking GW? Yeah, I can hear Ian back there blowing her nose. Bless her heart. She's been sick for 2 weeks now. I kicked it. I got a little bit sick this past week, but I think I've kicked it. I just get sick every time I eat. Yeah, that's where a lot of people are, man. I definitely make more than I drink. I give a lot away. Yeah, rice hulls. I think that helps settle it down and separate it so they can clear it. Because I've never done all grain like that. It's not like all one grain like wheat. Other than I've done all corn, but I've never done like an all malt, all barley. I'm definitely going to give it a try as soon as I can find, somebody has a good deal on barley, man. It's just, I found people get rye. I can do all wheat. I can do all corn, but I don't know any barley. So I got to find me a barley farmer. Yesterday, that's what I figured. What's going on, Chris? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I have somebody just go ahead and say it. Shots again. I'm going to finish off the rest of this honey. See it, Mike? Better go, brother. A little floaty in there. Yeah, it's slimy, man. It gets the gluteny, and it's Seb TL. Is that what it is? I think it's one of those. I was thinking Seb a meal, but Seb TL. So this Seb TL will help break down and thin that out. When you add that high temp alpha, how it goes from gelatinous corn to real thin. It's called hydrolyzing, and this Seb TL. I was thinking it's 7 meal, but it's Seb TL will help hydrolyze that. It'll help liquefy it and turn it, thin it out. And it also helps when it's time to rack and let it settle and clear. So it forms two different purposes there. But rice hulls will work, like you were saying, and winemakers do that a lot to help separate. And yeah, apple rye or peach rye would be good. Or oats, oats will help take a little bit of that bite out. Sebflow TL or Visco Seb. That might be the one I was thinking of, that Visco Seb. But yeah, write those down. and I would definitely recommend using those because it is a gummy bitch. It's I've used high percentages of with my corn of like barley and stuff to get and just adding like 40%, it gets quite gummy. So I can't imagine what all malt would be like or all rye. That'll work. That'll be fine. No, 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 nope. It's not the same. I've had people, and it, people until you learn, you don't know. But I had some people message me, and they're like, "Man, I found the best deal on rye ever." And I'm like, "Really? Where'd you find it?" At Home Depot. And I looked at it, and it was the grass seed, and I had to break it to them. I'm like, "Man, that ain't gonna work." Plus, that stuff is pins coated, and that will definitely not be good, man. It's got that spray on it that's the fertilizer. But no, it's a different rye. So don't go to your farm feed and supply store getting a ryegrass. It's a different, and a lot you'll find a lot of farmers will kind of rotate between winter wheat, and rye, and they grow it as a cover crop. So June, July be a good time to get it, and then maybe again in August, September, from a lot of farmers that grow it as a cover crop to help um, add nutrients back into the soil and stuff. They'll grow different crops to kind of break it up. So I do have a farmer that I was asking if they're not growing any wheat this year, but I didn't ask them if they're doing rye. So, but get on Facebook Marketplace. Be surprised. You'll find a lot of farmers around that will sell their wheat and rye, and it's cheap. It's really cheap. So, I mean, I was getting wheat so cheap, I felt guilty. I felt bad about it. I was getting it so damn cheap, like $12 for a 50-pound bag. And rye's the same way. If you find a farmer, they'll cut that stuff up, separate it's good and clean. Man, it's a hell of a deal. Yeah, I just use just cheapo rye and try to find somebody that's got it. What's going on, Gip? Good to see you, brother. What's up, JJ? I'm gonna have to. Huh. Everybody's bellying up to the bar, ain't they? There's Brian. What's going on, man? What's going on, Charles? Have 6 jugs of agave nectar. Man, I'm jealous of you, brother. Plan on running the next run approximately 240 pounds. Any words of wisdom? Yes, share. It's nice to share. Man, I'm so jealous. I wish I could get me a bunch of that. That's expensive stuff. Have an onion head on my reflux column. Awesome. I would probably run it pot still. Yeah, I'd run it on pot still and age it in a barrel. I tell you what, my buddy ages it. I've tasted the same exact tequila, white and aged. Oh my! If you could put it on in a barrel, oh my goodness, it makes it so good. But yeah, he runs his in pot still. Yep. Yeah, I just run it pot still and make decent cuts and put it in a barrel for a year or so. Get you 15 and put it in a barrel or a 5. Won't take as long than a 5. But yeah, man, it's so good. But yeah, it's definitely jealous. But I would definitely make sure you add some nutrients because your tequila, there's no yan and fan in there at all. So yeast assimilable nitrogen, there's none. There's no free amino nitrogen. So you're definitely going to want to add some bran flakes to it. Literally the cereal bran flakes works. Or if you got some a yeast bed from a prior run, some of the dead yeast in there works fine. Just boil it up and get some of that sediment out, put it in a pot, stir it real well, make it milky, and just bring it to a boil, kill all the yeast and everything else off in there. Add that to it, and it'll feed your yeast. And you can boil some. We talk about the oyster shells, so that's another. pH can kind of drop pretty quickly in these high syrup, high sugar type, rums or sugar washes or tequilas where you have, a lot of syrup. It helps because generally it'll go really fast and your pH can crash on you really quickly. So if you have the oyster shells in there, clean them up, boil them, and put a little brew bag in there, and that'll help, buffer it to keep your pH from crashing and keep your flavor profile up on your yeast, so it won't stress it out a little bit. I'm behind too, brother. I'm further behind than you are because I just got to this comment, so I'm further behind than you. You give arrowheads away. That's not. Oh yeah, you're a napper. I keep forgetting about that. I used to hunt a lot of arrowheads when I was young. Yeah, I'd say it would be too. It'd be real tough. I've seen a lot of people though, they'll just put it in their mouth, swish it around, taste it, and then just spit it out. These professional tasters, that's what they do. They'll just put it in and swish it and then spit it out and cleanse their palate. No, it's a waste. That's alcohol abuse. Hello, Miss Lisa. How are you? Yeah, I definitely do pot still, for sure. What's going on, Mr. Shadow? All right, brother. We understand. I will have a shot just for you, my friend. Good to see you, brother. Hope y'all doing good. Damn, I got my damn beard and maybe if Ann drank a little more moonshine, she wouldn't be sick. I'm thinking that's what keep me getting sick. I'm drinking my sanitizer. Oh shit. Okay, I did put it up there. What is the number one rule not to break? Never leave your steel. When you're running, always be there where your steel is, uh, and try not to get drunk, but never walk away from a running steel. That would be probably the biggest mistake most people make. And I just heard about a distillery. I don't think that necessarily the case, but there was just a legal distillery that had an explosion and blew a lot of the building out. People walking on the sidewalk get hit with window glass and everything else. It's a pretty large explosion. And so I guess they probably had a valve shut. They probably had their bypass shut and didn't know it, and it was just building pressure. But definitely should have had a pressure relief valve. But number one is never walk away from your steel and never get inebriated, too drunk while you're running. Save that for afterwards for sure. I don't always practice what I preach, but yeah, it's especially starting out. You should definitely not do that. But aside from that, there's a lot of things that there are do's and don'ts. But that's probably the number one. Never walk away from your steel and think it'll be fine. I'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes, and that bucket's plenty big enough to catch it all. Don't ever do it. Yes, that's also good advice. Never sell, never tell. Yeah. But I just want to meet your farmer. I'll buy it direct, man. I just give me a contact. I'll buy it direct. I've been looking for a farmer that grows it. I mean, I can get corn cheap. I can get my barley cheap. I mean my wheat cheap, and I can get rye cheap. But barley is, I guess around here anybody that grows it contracts with some of these big distilleries around here because it's just not a regular crop you grow, and they don't let nothing. And I've not seen it in marketplace or anybody else, but yeah, let me know. I'd be happy to pay for it if it's good and cheap. I just want a good cheap supply, and I don't want to have to drive to hell and half of Georgia to get it. But I'd like to be able to find somebody fairly close by that grows it that I could buy it from direct from the farmer, because I'm paying almost $2 a pound for it, and it's just crazy. Malted, but still. That's awesome, brother. Yeah, that's close by. Yeah, let me know. Yeah, I can make an annual run, just get it all at once. I don't know. I guess you probably could. Sebamil GL. Yeah, you don't need malted barley or any of it, but unless you just want that flavor. Yeah, that malted rye is plenty high diastatic enough to convert itself. Wheat, barley, all of them are fine. They can definitely convert themselves, no problem. Yeah, yeah. I have to do some research on that. I'm trying to think of the distillery that just had the explosion, and I was just seeing it on Facebook. Oh, I know who posted it. Hold on, just a second. I can find it. But yeah, I hate to hear that. Move that back over. So let's see. He might have just posted it to the group, and yeah, here we go. Storm Distillery in Inverness. So I guess that's down there in Florida. But Storm Distillery, yeah, just had an explosion. So prayers for everybody involved down there. Hope nobody injured too badly. Southwest, daggone it, why couldn't you be in the southeast? That ain't too far though. Yeah, you gotta, shipping is way too much. So if you get a large enough order, just take the truck and get it. Best thing to do, Justin, is get it in the fall. Get it in the fall right before winter. Bring it home, put it and seal it in these barrels that have these straps that are airtight, and put it out. Put it in your storage building or something that gets outside that freezes. And because all your corn, all your grains gonna have some bugs in it, right? So if you do that and let it sit in a storage building where it gets cold and freezes, it'll kill every bug, every larvae, and all that in our cold winters that we get. And you won't have to worry about longer term storage with it that way. But if you buy it like in the summer, or you keep it in a warm place and you don't ever do that, your bugs will start taking over, man. It'll be soup, before long. Yeah. I know somebody that works on them grain elevators. Yep. Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that grows barley. It's just not you don't see it a lot. Yeah, yeah. My corn wise, I can get good corn cheap, but the barley, and I'm getting it for 2 a pound shipping and all. So that's on the bright side, but still, it's pretty expensive. That's awesome. Oh, excellent advice too. Yeah, definitely, hillbilly. That's definitely you definitely want to get a tequila yeast, and the blue yeast is definitely what you want to go with. You want to, for sure, definitely. Good point, brother. Yeah, and another good point. It definitely likes it so warm. I'll probably wait until you know things heat up outside, and a lot of people will, kind of schedule it and time it, for a good summer, late summer, early fall when it's hot as hell and dry. It's a good time to do a tequila run when everything else is a little bit too warm for a lot of other things. But if you're outside and fermenting, um, be careful though. Don't leave your barrels out in the sun. You definitely want to keep them in the shade, especially those black barrels. Man, those things get so hot. And I've seen a lot of people. Oh, I can't get anything to ferment, man. In the summer, I have to do it all in the spring or fall. And I look, and they got them sitting out in the sun, man. It's big old black barrels. That shit gets 130 degrees in it. So you're gonna do some fat washing, huh? Sounds interesting. Yeah, you can use a. Trying to think what they call them. It's a scope. It's different than a hydrometer. Once you have sugars in there, anything that's going to affect the viscosity, um, it's no bueno. So they make a scope. What's it called? Shit. Here goes my mind. Um, a lot of bartenders use it when they're mixing and stuff and doing mixology. Um, Help me out, Clint. What's it called? Damn it! I can't. I can't remember shit anymore. Um, Refractometer. There's my mind. Yeah, it's a refractometer, and basically you look through it and it's got a gauge, and you put a drop there, and you'll see where the line is. It'll show you a line, and you can get some. Some of them are fairly cheap, but the cheap ones aren't necessarily that accurate. But the nicer ones, they're like $100. So probably best to proof it before you add that, and whatever you're adding to it, look at the percentage. So if it's like a liquid or something thin, just look at the percentage of what you're adding, and you can pretty much just go on ratios, right, and math. So that would be another way kind of around it. But yeah, refractometer. Yeah, yeah, 85, 90. It's happy. That and that blue yeast, I think that's I'm gonna check it blue yeast range. Yeah, 86 to 104 is its range that it can do. And they say around ideal is 90. So yeah. But 86 to 95 is the optimal range. And definitely don't go over 104 because it'll start denaturing at that point. Yeah, yeah, you have to get the refractometer, and that's what a lot of these bartenders use when they start adding stuff and they want to get a proof on it and start doing mixology to try to, create a new drink. They'll use those. It does cost an arm and a leg, man. It's expensive stuff, bro. Man, I'd love to be close to the border though, where I could they'd catch me, border patrol. What do you got in the back of that truck? Oh, nothing. They go back there thinking it's fentanyl. They'd be fucking blue agave syrup. They'd be testing. It's like, man, where's the fentanyl at? Man, it's just syrup, sir. Get out of here, Fuck. Yeah, I'd love to go there and get some. Just oyster shells. It's the same thing. It's calcium carbonate. You could get the oyster shells, or you can buy that. I just get those oyster shells, man, and boil them up good. They're cheap as hell, and they're good for gardening. If you grow a garden, it's great to add to your tomatoes. If they start getting spots on it. Same with you, peppers and other plants. So I like keeping it for that as well. So it's good to have. It's real cheap though. It's like $14 for a 40-50 pound bag, and just boil it up before you use it, and you put it in a brew bag. A little brew bag's perfect thing to put it in, or you put it in cheesecloth, tied up in some cheesecloth, and just boil it up with, when you're boiling your water to steep in your corn or whatever, boil it up with that. Use your tongs and get it out, and just throw it in your ferment bucket before you even get started, and it'll eat away at it. Basically, as the pH drops, it'll start eating away at that calcium carbonate. It's nothing fast; it's a slow reaction, so it just buffers it like the 5.2 stabilizer. Same stuff. Um, and then when you get done using it, you can reuse it. Just take it, rinse it out, rinse your shells out real good, and next time you're ready to do it again, boil it again to kill out any bacteria, because it's got a lot of pore. It's very porous. So boil it again, kill any bacteria that might be on it, and then just keep reusing it. And then eventually they'll dissolve to where the lot, you need to add some more. But yeah, just boil them up, clean them up, and use them each time, and it works really well. But you don't always need it, for like your grains and stuff. That generally, if you have everything ideal, which you want to try to keep everything in the ideal and your parameters, 4 to 6, 7 days. So, and you don't have to worry about that crashing. I've never seen a lot of, unless you have a lot of sugar in it. Now, if it's a thin mash, it's a good idea to use it. But if it's like a converted grain and stuff, generally you don't need the stabilizer for that. But any sugar wash or rums or tequilas or any, thin mash or anything with a lot of sugar in it, it's a good idea. Yes, sage is strong, less is more. Yeah, it's like cinnamon and a few other things. Clove. Oh yeah, I mean you can get you. They've got some. It gets expensive though, but yeah, you refractometer. You can get one of those relatively cheap, but they're not real good. But it's ballpark close enough. But I just use math. Um, and so if you have something that's 100 proof and you have 10 ounces and you add, an ounce, that's probably going to take it down to 90, right? And so I would simply do that type of math, and just because it's not like, it's not like we have to, be exact, like it's for bottling it or something, and yeah, you don't want to piss off the local witch, man. She make a little voodoo doll of your ass, and yeah, 5.2. I think he's talking about the buffer. I might be mistaken. Yeah, the stabilizer. He's talking about the buffer. Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing. I'm pretty sure the 5.2 is calcium carbonate. I think North Georgia's starting to sell some now too, and they probably getting oyster shells, bagging them up. They figure, man, it make money at it. Grind them up, make a powder and call it stabilizer. It's exactly what it is. Boil them up, clean them up, grind them up, and bag it up, sell it. Oh, one person did die. Shoot, I hate to hear that. I heard some people got cut up pretty bad on the sidewalk. I guess a big window blew out and a lot of glass shrapnel went everywhere. Missions 21 out of Florida. Let's check it out. Missions 21. What's that? Oh, a missionary. Cool. Got your beer run done, huh? Oh yeah, it's definitely you can make sweet corn. It's just so expensive, man, and it does make a difference. It will taste different, not necessarily better. I mean that would be an opinion, but it's definitely a lot more expensive to use a sweet corn. Field corn, just yellow dents for beginners and intermediate, definitely the way to go. I see a lot of people, it's nice to run the heirloom. And the heirloom has some good, unique flavors. It's definitely something for somebody that's getting burnt out on the same old corn all the time. But I would definitely cut my teeth on yellow dent before I would spend a lot of money on heirloom corn. I see a lot of beginners doing a lot of heirloom corn, and they're paying a dollar for it and shipping. And it's just, go to Tractor Supply, get some yellow dent, just straight corn, no apple added for the deer, none of that silliness, no sweet food, just straight corn kernels. Get you a good grinder and and cut your teeth on that. And then once you get good doing that, then start experimenting with some of the heirlooms and comparing, and you can decide for yourself, is it worth 10 times the cost, or more if you're shipping. Yeah, you definitely can. It's hops is one of the biggest issues though. It can get kind of skunky and oily. But yeah, it's been done a lot. It's probably an acquired taste. A lot of people don't like it. But yeah, it's been done. It's been done a lot. I think they did it on the show too, and they found out real quickly that the hops don't necessarily carry over pretty well. All right, brother, take it easy. Damn, am I that far behind already? 9:05, not too bad. 10 minutes. So yeah, gravity is on your hot. So I guess you don't have to do the temperature conversion using a refractometer, do you? I've never used them. Never bothered with them because I always heard the cheap ones aren't very accurate and the good ones are expensive. So I've always just used the little $4 or $5 hydrometer. Interesting. Yeah, 5.2 works fine. It's the same thing. It's calcium carbonate. I'm gonna do a little search here. I'm pretty sure that's sodium acetate, acetic acid. Yeah, I just use the shells, man. I definitely wouldn't be adding acetic acid, acetate. Sure is acetic acid. There ain't no way. Yeah, I'd use oyster shells. What's going on, Gary? Yeah, I think he's talking about the porosity, where it's porous, the yeast would live in it. Yeah, I mean, once you get done with the fermentation, that yeast bed in the bottom, we've talked about that in the past. You can scoop that, run it through a sieve, get any kind of grain or foreign material out of it that you can. Anything of size is not going to be a yeast or yeast oil, and rinse it, and use some distilled water and get the alcohol out of it and shake it and just keep letting it settle, rack it off, pour more distilled water in, stir it up, clean it up real good. Yeah, that's got a lot of good yeast in there, and you can save it and just feed it every once in a while. Throw a little bit of sugar in there to feed it, and throw you some. I guess you could throw you some bran flakes in there or dead yeast hulls. I mean, there's probably plenty in there that it's going to eat. So it's going to pretty much thrive on just that yeast bed alone. But yeah, it'll sit there, it'll live for a long time. And if you're buying expensive yeast, this Quebec yeast and some of this expensive stuff, definitely want to do it. And I don't know about Yellow Label. I don't think the Koji and all that the enzymes are going to carry over well and reproduce like the yeast will. But yeah, like if you're getting an expensive yeast like a Quebec or something like that, you definitely want to try to propagate it and save you some money. Use it as many times as you can. Yeah, it'd be the same thing as using a porous wood, right? Yeah, instead of a yeast log, it's a yeast shell. It'd work the same. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're making it. Now, when I say that, wouldn't use a store bought yeast feed, sweet feed, because they had a lot of minerals and stuff good for the animals, not so good for distilling and iron supplements and other things like that. So, but if you can make your own, absolutely, you can regulate the quality of the materials going in. Whereas sweet feed's got a pretty cheap molasses. Yeah, yeah. So if you make your own, that's great. I wasn't knocking sweet feed. I wouldn't buy sweet feed from the store, because a lot of that sweet feed's made with some really low grade molasses that was pit green. I'm guessing it's unsulfured or so, uh, but yeah, it's a lot of times it's a low grade molasses that they're mixing with it, and again putting in a lot of minerals and supplements and stuff for the animals that you definitely don't want to. Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, moonshine is just like vodka, whiskey, any other liquor. But around the still, if you've got, I wouldn't smoke it around the end of the condenser or anything like that, because you do get a lot of vapors coming out of there, especially if it's not real efficient. Shrinking bags and impregnating. What are we talking about, John? Crazy comps, man. Crazy. What are we talking about here? It's funny. Yeah, if you make your own sweet feed, absolutely. Yeah, it's go to the store, man, and unless you make it at home, we don't talk about selling it. We can't talk about selling it. That violates every rule on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else. So it is legal, and a lot of the legal stuff, tastes similar. There's a lot of people that are now, in the not Nick Kalo used to make it, illegally. Now he does it legally. So it's going to be pretty much similar to what he made before. So, there's a lot of legal jars out there that are going to give you pretty decent shine. Not the best, not, not as good as mine, but there's going to be some decent shine out there on the shelf for you. Or you just got to buddy up, make you a buddy and start helping them out and making some moonshine or start making it yourself. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, but yeah, smoking. I mean, it's they're like JJ said. I mean, they're using a propane burner right underneath the steel, so it's Do you use a refractometer? I've never used them. I've always just used the hydrometer. I often thought about getting one of those cheap ones, but I just never did. I mean, they're like $20 on Amazon, but I've just always got for that. I can get 4 or 5 hydrometers. They're like $4 each, and I buy them 3 or 4 at a time. So because they will break, they will always break, especially if you just buy one. Absolutely. So anytime we talk about equipment that you need, and people say, "What all the equipment? What all do I need?" You definitely need to add a fire extinguisher ready for alcohol to that list for sure, because accidents can and will happen. All right, so it's 11 after. Let me share some more links here and get the love out. So give me just a minute here. Let me find out where it was on the list. There you go. There. See, we go. Here we go. Wait a minute. I'm not doing it right way. Let me do it this way. Let's see. We're going to do it all this way. So it is slower doing it this way for sure. And hopefully they'll let me share it. It's taking a while. All right, that did. All right, let's see what's next. So give me a few seconds here. This one I was getting caught up to. Hopefully they'll let me share it to all of them. This will be the experiment, though, to see if they will. I think that's all of it. Yeah, we'll put it in that one too. I gotta answer a few questions in that group all the time. All right, I'm back. Yeah, it's just time for me to do that. I had to do it a little after 9. Yeah, well, fortunately around here they make it a lot. We have, you know, sorghum days and I think West Liberty has sorghum days. I got some cousins used to raise cane there and make molasses and sorghum. Got you a 5-gallon beaver. What is your best first run? I would go with either a sugar shine or maybe a sugar with a cornmeal, the thin mash, just to add a little flavor to it. But you don't have to worry about amylase converting and doing all that stuff. Just add a little flavor to the sugar wash. But definitely a sugar shine would be a really good one. It's inexpensive and it gets your feet wet. It gets you see if your steel's got any leaks in it or anything like that. A lot of times, the first run is a sacrificial run. So depending on your steel, clean it out real good. You got a beaver, it'd be all right. So clean it out real good. A lot of people will sacrifice their first run. That way, if any manufacturing oils or greases or anything like that coming off that alcohol, get it cleaned out. Not necessarily a have to, but it's a good idea too. And chances are, if it's a sugar shine, it's not going to be the best anyway. So it's a good way to clean things out real well and save the liquor that you get out of it. Mark it to where you won't drink it, but you can use it for a lot of different purposes. Cleaners and disinfectants and lighting charcoal. And starting a fire in the fireplace. There's a lot of different things you can use it for. Grass killer, a lot of things. Clean a metal if you're doing welding. Absolutely, that'd be fine. I'd just be worried about bacteria. Um, but I guess it'd be the same with a lot yeast logs. So it didn't work. Yeah, yeah. You definitely don't want the sulfured molasses. You definitely want unsulfured. Um, definitely get the unsulfured. You definitely don't want the sulfur. You know that. But yeah, if you get down there pretty cheaply, just when you make a sugar wash, make sure you add some nutrients, some dead yeast or some, bran flakes, and make sure you add those shells to it as well. Those oyster shells, those help out a lot. Yeah, yeah. There's Beard and Board. Oh, George has some good videos. Phil Billy's got good videos. Cyrus has good videos. Alan Bishop, lots of good videos. Amanda's got some stuff coming out. So there's a lot of different, a lot of great sources out there. Jesse from Steal It. There's a lot of good sources out there. I haven't done any videos like that. There's plenty of them. There's I just be another face, right, doing the same shit. So I decided just to do the Q&A because that's something nobody was doing. And you know you can get a lot of great information from all the people I just mentioned. Great people, great sources, but you have to watch a lot of videos to get your questions answered. And that's kind of why I wanted to open, and do this podcast, is just answer direct questions, right? Because a lot of people, you know, don't have 8-10 hours to watch 15 different videos to find out the answer to their simple question, right? And they go to some of these groups and Facebook and other places, and they ask a simple question, and half the people troll them and call them idiot and stupid question, and beat them down, and then you get 15 different answers. Half of them are totally wrong, and then it's just a mess. So that's the number one reason that I started this. So if you have a question, um, you can come here and ask your question, and we'll take care of you. We'll get you questions answered. I don't have all the answers, but I can source it. I can find the answer for you, unless it's just extremely complex. And if you want to get scientific and stuff like that, I can break down the formula and do whatever we need to do. But we can get your questions answered and use good sources. If I don't know the answer, I'm not going to go to Reddit for an answer, right? I'm going to go to .gov or .edu and get it from laboratories and other places that have good information and good experimentation and research behind the answer. But yeah, lots of great videos out there. But again, I could do them, but I'd just be another face doing another video, and that's not my bag at all. I just soon you can go watch those videos, check them out, and when you got questions, come here. That's definitely the way to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of great videos out there, and I highly recommend checking them all out. George is a great beginners, great for beginners. Alan Bishop probably more for advanced people, and if you want to do absinthe, and if you like, a lot of historical stuff, definitely a lot of different gins and stuff. He's definitely got some, and yeast, propagating yeast, things like that. A little more scientific, great source. But yeah, there's a lot of good people out there that has a lot of great videos. Yeah, yeah, I'd stay away from the bird watchers. I never recommend bird watchers. But a thin mash, just a simple sugar and cornmeal. Good. Uncle Jesse's simple sour mash is a good thing that you can do to kind of get something going and rolling and add to it and keep continuously working it until you get your feet wet. That's a good thing to do as well. But for me, a good thin mash works well. It's better than just a sugar wash. It's got that corn in there that give you a little good corn flavor. So it's a good way to start. I would say, let me put this banner up. So at the bottom of the screen, DIY Shine and Steel Building, or the Moonshine Militia, uh, on Facebook. Join those groups. Tell them, if you join the militia, tell them Santa sent you. If you're doing DIY Shine and stuff, let us know who you are. Clint and I, we're admins in there as well, and so and moderate. So yeah, join those. We've got I've got a book in there that's got some pretty decent recipes in it. It's an old Stampede Steel recipe book, and it's got some simple recipes in there. And I'm going to try to start adding more and more, but I've got to go over them, and I never find time to. And I say this at least once a month or twice. But I'm going to try to. But I have to make sure stuff isn't copyrighted, right? So I don't want to put stuff in there that somebody's got a copyright on, and depends on selling it. I've seen Alan Bishop's book in a lot of different news groups, the PDF, and that's just wrong. The dude puts a lot of work into that, and people just you know copy it and share it. It's just, that's not right. I won't do that. So I have to look at everything and clean it up if I can. And if I see it needs changes, I can make some needed changes to it, or add some things that I would do to kind of make it my own recipe, or I can find some that are just bullshit that sound horrible and it's something you shouldn't do. So yeah, DIY Shine and Steel Building, or Moonshine Militia on Facebook. And you can also follow us at YouTube on Philly Moonshine or Moonshine Militia, which you're probably watching us on, one or the other. So going on, Wayne? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing all right, brother. There's another sharp one. Oh, Wayne makes some pretty good stuff as well. Yeah, we were just talking earlier about how some of these, a lot of people attribute a lot of moonshine with the flavor of heads, from poorly cut liquor made by pretty much amateurs. I don't care how long you've been doing it. If you still can't make cuts, I don't care if you've been doing it for 30 years. You're still, mixing heads, tails, and hearts together and putting that out there. Yeah, trash. That sounds good, man. What are you aging it in? What's going on, Gary? Good to see you, brother. So what do you got going on, Wayne? Got any new projects going on there at the Ozark Skunk Works? Wayne comes up with some innovative ideas and a lot of stuff that nobody's done or tried before. He's an old fabricator. What's going on, Richard? Good to see you, brother. Need to get up with me, man. Let me know when you want to come on. That way I can put an ad out and we can get you on there one Tuesday or Saturday. So let me know. Oh yeah, most of us do, man. I'm a slacker. I don't have my stickers. I've got them designed, but I've never spent the $5 or $10 to order sheets of them. But yeah, man, come to some of these festivals, man. Everybody's got stickers. I think the militia actually had a little sticker exchange thing at one time going on. You can mention it in there, man, and you'll get a lot of people reply. Yeah, brother, you're busier than I am. I'm semi-retired, man. I'm a drop of the hat kind of guy. I can do anything anytime, but I know you're busy, brother. So whenever you got the time, let me know. But do give me a week or two ahead, advance notice so I can make a little ad and all that, and check your schedule and whenever you've got a Saturday or a Tuesday open, and give me a couple weeks in advance, and I'll have some questions for you. And I'm sure a lot of the people in the group will, but I'll shoot you some of the questions so you can kind of prepare for the answers. Uh, but I definitely want to know about your distillery and what y'all got going on for sure. Yeah, I need to work on I've got my stickers and my designs, but I got to put them on these gang sheets, man. You got to position them and then once you make one, then they can just roll it out. But you got, Wes is going to help me with that. I keep promising I'm going to send it up there, but I've got to do that and the t-shirt at the same time. I'm going to do the t-shirts, so I got to get them all put on a gang sheet so I can start pressing out some t-shirts. I got the heat press and everything. I just got to do it. Hey, anytime, man. We're here Tuesdays and Saturdays, 8 Eastern. So jump in here, man, and bring your questions. But definitely join the DIY Shine in the Steel Building and Moonshine Militia on Facebook, and look in our file section. A lot of good recipes there, and ask questions, and we'll be there to help you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they do. I think they did business cards for me at one time. Pretty sure they did. But yeah, I've got it designed. I just got to put it on a gang sheet, and I want to get it to where they're really close, especially for the t-shirts, because they want to do like large one for the t-shirts and then smaller one for here on the t-shirts and even smaller for a hat, same design. So I'm going to do like 3 different sizes, big, medium, and small for t-shirt back, t-shirt front, and then hat. Because the heat press that I got can do mugs, hats, shot glass. It can do a lot of different things. Pretty cool little Vever. Pretty nice one. I think 12 or 16. Pretty cool little deal. I got a good deal on it. I caught it on sale. I watched it for a long time, and it was like $50 off, so I jumped on it. Less than $200. So pretty good deal for the 8-in-1. I got that 8-in-1. So it does like 2 different sizes of tumblers, t-shirts, hats, small stuff. It does a lot. Y'all got quiet on me. I'm gonna have to have a drink. We still rolling here? Whoa, this is. Hang on, wait a minute. Let me see if I thought yeah, there it is. Okay, good deal. I definitely want to check something out here. Oh, this is neat. Oh, that's cool. It shows all the different ones I've shared to. That's pretty cool. I like that. I scroll down and see all the different groups I just shared to. I didn't know I'd do that. Sometimes you just gotta laugh at some of the things. Yeah, but Vever makes a lot of stuff. Well, actually, Vever puts their name on a lot of stuff. So I see they see what they do. They see a factory producing stuff, and they see a pretty decent product, and then they'll go to this factory and they'll say, okay, we see you making this for I'm just going to say Winity or whatever company, and but we want it changed a little bit. We want to make these modifications to it. So can you do that? Yeah. So we'll pay you X amount of dollars, and they contract it out to have all these different things built. So they'll have stuff custom done at all these factories and shit over in China, and so they don't make a lot of stuff. I don't know if they even make anything, but they put their name on a lot of different stuff, and they have a lot of custom stuff made, specifically for them. And there's a lot of places out there that do that. For example, appliances, 6 or 7 appliances, Roper, Amana, I wish Hot Point, there's a lot of different appliances that'll come out of one factory. They just put a different name on it, right? And make it a little change in design or whatever, and put a different name on it. So, yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. JJ, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, man, even in the restaurant industries and stuff, meat cutters, ice machines, I mean, some sophisticated equipment, they do a lot. Vever makes a lot of stuff. That's a huge company. If I lived in China, I'd definitely invest in them. Oh, they got everything, man. They got meat slicers, ice machines, pasta machines. Uh, they everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have an automobile, man. I think they do about everything. Vista motorcycle or Bever motorcycle or whatever. They make all kinds of stuff, and not all of it's good. I, I, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've got. they've got this post hole digger. It's a 52cc post hole digger with two different. It's like got a 6-inch auger and a 10-inch auger, two extensions for like $118. Kidding me? They make all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I was thinking about getting the post hole diggers. I got to put up a fence, and hell, I can buy the damn post hole diggers as cheaply as I can go to Home Depot and rent them for a weekend. So I might just buy it and use it for planting plants too. You know, it'd be good for putting, you know, plants in the ground, transplanting. Do they have a mini bike? I wouldn't be surprised, man. They got about everything. I need to contact them, man. I've sold $1 million worth of steels from some bitches. They should. I know Phil Billy used to be associated with them. I'm not sure if he is anymore, but he used to be able to get a discount using his name. Probably still can. But yeah, they used to send him stuff, and he'd do reviews on it and post videos of his reviews, and they sent him all kinds of stuff, man. I need to contact them, and maybe if I start doing some videos and had 500,000 or 750,000 subscribers, they might want to send me some. But it'd take me a while to get that many. Old Phil Billy, he's got a bunch of them, man. Mel Brooks, more like Elon Musk, man. They got it all. They got it all going on, man. What is my favorite yeast? That's that's a good question. If I had to, it's really hard for me. I used Fleischmann's bread yeast for many, 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 many years with grains. And it's not my favorite yeast, but I did use it for probably 3 decades. Um, but I will say, if I had to buy just one yeast and I was limited to just one yeast, I'd probably get the Lalvanese 1118 for its versatility. It's the best at nothing, but it's good at probably most everything. It's something you can do okay with grains. It's a champagne yeast, so it's good with fruits and wines. It's great with brandies and making wines and stuff. Doesn't have a lot of flavor. Doesn't have a lot of florals or notes or any of that. It's pretty neutral. So it that can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? So it's not going to give off flavors. It's great for stuck fermentations. It's got a lot of tolerances as far as temperature and pH range. Huge tolerance. Um, Prefers a little cool, but if you want to get some floral notes to it, you can take the temperature up and ferment it at a higher temperature. It won't stress, but it'll give you some decent floral notes. So probably, if I had to just pick one, I'd say Lalvanese 1118. But I've become a yeast snob. I like using a lot of different yeasts. So if I did strictly grains, I'd probably go with the Kveki yeast. If I did just strictly wines, I'd probably go with a Premier Rouge or a Premier Blanc because I really like those for my wines and my white wines and my dark wines. Um, if I did meads, probably a 71B Lalvin. Um, so there's so many different yeasts that are specifically designed for certain things, like we were talking earlier about the blue yeast for your tequila. So if you're a tequila maker, your favorite yeast is going to be that blue yeast. So there's so many different ones, and they each have unique characteristics and abilities. There's rum yeast out there that add some glucoamylase to it to help break some of those molasses dextrins down to fermentables. So that would be a good, if you're doing rums, that would be your favorite yeast because it does a really good job. So but if I had to buy one, I would probably just get the Lalvanese 1118 because it's pretty good at everything and it's great for stuck fermentations. Got a lot of great ranges as far as pH temperature. but it's really the best at nothing. So it's not the best at grains. It's not the best at fruits. It's a champagne yeast, but it's not even the best for that. But it's good. It's good at pretty much everything. Yeah, and like great value, all that stuff, great value. They don't make all that stuff. They just buy it cheap from somebody and relabel it. Yeah, I want to buy the hole. I don't want. Yeah, I just want the pre dug hole. I want to buy the hole ready to go. But yeah, post hole diggers, I'll never pick up another one, man. I'll definitely buy $118 of every auger before I'm picking up post hole diggers at my age, man. I, I'm feeling blisters come up on my hands just talking about it. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, they make everything. Are they making a new one? I always love those, man. They're funny as shit. Yeah, yeah. If you had to pick two, that'd probably be a good two. Use the deity for your grains, all your grains, and EC 1118 for all your brandies and stuff. Absolutely. What kind of yeast could give me a more mellow, smooth flavor with corn? Mine always turns out hot. Uh, First of all, are we doing a conversion? Or are we adding sugar? Because if you're doing, like a lot of people do, adding, thin mash, like I did for many, many, many years. I'm not going to knock it because I did it for 25, 30 years, and it makes decent stuff, but it's not going to be real smooth like a converted grain. So if we're doing corn and sugar, we can get rid of the sugar and we can start converting the corn, the starches in the corn. And they make corn is what they use to make this ethanol for cars, right? This is the cheapest way to get sugar. And it also is probably one of the best ways to get your sugar because it's a lot smoother than what the cane sugar or sucrose will do. So if we're taking the grains and we're cooking it at 190 degrees for 90 minutes to 2 hours, and we're gelatinizing the corn, and then we're adding a high temp amylase at 185 to break that down and debranch all these dextrins. Because let me show you what it looks like when you break this corn down. This is what. Well, shoot, let me pick this one out. Too late. All right, so this is what starch looks like. These are complex carbohydrates. This is the starch in fruits and vegetables. Um, yeah, amylose and amylopectin. You'll have both in all of it. But you see how each one of those little balls that's a glucose molecule, and yeast cannot eat that, right? So basically, your alpha amylase is debranching a lot of these, long chains and all these branches. It's segmenting all this stuff, so it's chopping it up into anywhere from 3 to 12, and that's called an oligosaccharide. So it's taking a polysaccharide with many, poly meaning many, and it's breaking these bonds up. So that alpha will debranch that from the inside, and it's endo enzyme. So it's chopping these up from the inside, right? And it's making lots of smaller chains, right? And then we follow up with a glucoamylase, and it'll take all these smaller chains of 3 to 12 and break it up into one or two. And that's something, and that's something that your yeast will consume and be able to consume, because otherwise your yeast can't consume it. So it'll taste sweet and it'll be sweet, but it's not something that yeast can consume. So once you debranch them like that, then you're going to be able to extract the sugar from the starch, and you're going to be able to get something that the yeast can consume. And when you do that, it's going to be so flavorful, and it's going to be so much smoother. You're going to do about 2.5 pounds, 2.25 is a good number of pounds of cracked corn, or you can get your own corn kernel. Best thing to do, just get you some yellow dent number 2 corn, the whole kernel, grind it up. It's like coffee. If you buy it cracked corn, that's fine, but chances are it's been in the bag for a long time. It gets stale, it gets oxidized. it loses some of its flavor. And it's just like coffee grinds, freshly ground versus, some straight out of the can that was ground months and months ago, right? So grinding it fresh will help, and converting it. Cook it, like I said, at 190 to 200 degrees plus, without scorching it. Steeping it's probably one of the best methods. And extracting, it'll gelatinize. So it'll look like corn pudding, right? Corn pudding looks all gelatinized. And so it'll gel up like corn pudding. And once you add that high temp amylase to it, it hydrolyzes it and it thins out. And once it starts breaking up all these starches, all that gel and these starches and all these sugars that are thick start breaking and getting watery because it thins them out. It hydrolyzes them. So it's breaking those bonds. It's a glycosidic bond holding every one of those little glucose molecules together. So it's breaking that glycosidic bond. It's called cleaving. They're cleaving the bonds. So once you do that, it gets kind of liquidy and it's a lot easier to work with, right? So you add that at 185 and then it'll let it work. And then when it gets down to either 140 to 110, depending on what your glucose amylase, it'll tell you on the label what temperature to add it. Some's 100, some's 110, some's 140. So you just have to look at the label to see what you got. But you'll add that, and it'll tell you how much per gallon to add. So it's pretty much, very small amounts to you. Be surprised because you'll get that thick gelatinous corn. You'll be like, there's no way a tablespoon is going to thin that out. And you put it in there and you get your drill and start going at it. Next thing you know, it's like water and it's like, wow, that's unbelievable. And it works really great. So make sure you get you some high temp amylase, high temp alpha amylase, and then some liquid glucoamylase, and start converting those starches. And it's a lot more efficient. You won't be buying any sugar. You're getting cheap yellow dick corn. You can get 50-pound bags for $7 to $12. And just try to find a good source. If you have a farmer around there somewhere that grows yellow dent field corn, be awesome. They'll fill up a truck bed for you for next to nothing. If you bring in your own containers, they'll fill them up for next to nothing, man. They bring in garbage cans, the blue barrels, totes, whatever you can bring in the back of your truck, they'll load it up, man. They're happier than hell to get rid of it, and they'll sell it to you cheap. Probably the best way to do it too. If you get it from the stores, they spray it with a propionic acid to keep it fresh for a longer period of time. If you're going to store it, might be good to get it that way. If you don't freeze it over the winter, you're going to get some bugs with the stuff that's sprayed. It's a lot less likely to have bugs. And freeze it and store it out, not outside, but in the outside temperatures, like in a storage building or something where it gets real cold, and get it in the fall and let it freeze, and it'll be good all summer. You won't have to worry about bugs. But put a decent grind on it, not ultra fine, but a little heavier than a normal crack. I like it coarse. And then cook it again 90 minutes to 2 hours at 190 degrees plus. You can steep it if you want to, like if you're doing 25 pounds and you're doing 12 gallons of water, start with 8. And every 15 minutes add a gallon, right? And every 15, add a gallon. So after 90 minutes to 2 hours, you'll be adding it and put it in something like a cooler or something that'll hold that heat, or something insulated. People wrap blankets around barrels and stuff to help insulate it and hold that heat in. If you got a big cooler, that's perfect. But yeah, gelatinize that corn. Then once you add that amylase, man, it'll start thinning up. It's like, man, there's no way this little teaspoon or this tablespoon of that's going to thin this out. And it's amazing how well it works. But yeah. And once you convert, you can check for your starches with iodine to see if you got it, got all your starches and converted, and it definitely works well. And you'll definitely find a lot smoother shine. I do have a little step-by-step guide. Again, at the bottom of the page, you'll see the DIY shine and steel building, and there in the militia. I've added it both the files. It's just a simple steep method for, corn liquor, or if you want to add some extra grains to it, whether they're malted or not, you can, add that to it. It'll give you the temperatures, and pull these charts. We've got these charts that I share with the group in here. Most all these charts are in there as well. but charts like this, that'll tell you temperatures that you want to add everything. So at the top, the centigrade, bottom is Fahrenheit. So it'll tell you about, in between the dumbbells. So at each side, you want to keep it in that range. That's a upper limit is to the right, lower limits to the left, temperature wise. So keep it between the dumbbells and give it a rest period. Let it hold that temperature for a while when you're adding these adjunct grains, and it'll do well. It's if you can follow the instructions to a T, it'll work every time. As long as you can keep your temperatures, your pHs, and everything, and your measurements strict, yeah, you can do it quite. It'll be very successful. I would say, find out what do you want to drink. What distillate is your favorite? If you like whiskeys, you want a pot still. If you like vodkas, you're going to want to get a column. So what is it that you want to make, and your equipment will reflect on what you want to make. So make the and I if you're a vodka drinker, I'm pretty much a vodka man. I'm going to drink all vodkas. Then you get you a good column still. If you're more into brandies and whiskeys, then you want to get you a pot still. So that would be the first question to ask. And then what still, and we can help you out with a lot of the decision making, and whether to get start with a keg still. You can start with a simple keg. Let me put a picture up here of a simple keg still. Well, I guess I got all files. So you can use just a regular old beer keg, if I can find the picture. I've got them spread out a little more than I should. All my files are. So let me find the keg still. I know it's in this one somewhere. Here we go. So you can start out with like a beer keg, and this little column on there. You got a little deflegmator sight glass. This is going to put out probably about 160 if you got that deflegmator running right there, right out of a little keg. Set it down on a stand on your turkey fryer, and you're ready to you're good to go. You can buy different steels. There's a lot of different ones out there. I know GW, if he's still with me, he's going to start cussing me because I'm getting ready to show a Vever. But Lord, I'm surprised he didn't say nothing. He must have passed out because he's not a big Vever fan. But not all Vevers are 3-pot. Vever got a bad reputation because of their 3-pot steels, and not all of them are 3-pot and bad. Especially this little football steel. That's a pretty good little kit. You can get them from around 200 to 250. That's 18 and a half gallons, so it's pretty good size. It's decent size, and you can use it to boil your water with. It's called a football steel. So either one of those are pretty decent ways to start. Keg's still very durable, but you're not going to be able to put it on a stovetop, right? So, you're going to be limited to, propane burner unless you want to put some ferrules in the side and put some elements in there and go that route. But yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, you could put some oats in there and smooth it down. Yeah, it is an expensive hobby, and if you spend a lot, it's easy to spend a lot once you start buying copper. So copper steels are awesome, but they're not a must-have, right? And it's certainly something that I wouldn't go out and just buy a 5-gallon copper steel or a 10-gallon copper steel. If you did, that's fine. That's but to get your feet wet, you can get a pretty cheap stainless one, right, for that price, and you can put some copper mesh, like here. Let's see. Well, not here. Here we go. You can see in this little sight glass on the bottom, looks like there's a little copper mesh inside that sight glass. So you can put some copper mesh in there, and once that vapor passes over that copper, it removes sulfites. There was somebody in the group earlier this week, one of the groups, asking about sulfites. He was spilling his mash. It was he used the turbo yeast, which I don't recommend, but and was doing a sugar shine, and it started getting the hydrogen sulfide rotten egg smell, which is sulfur. And, so you put that in there and it'll help remove a lot of that. Cause if you don't, you're going to taste that. It's going to carry forward. So, and it'll bond to copper very readily. So, the outer valence of electrons of the sulfur will bond readily to the copper, and it'll pull a lot of it out. So when you have that vapor going through that mesh, it's a pretty large surface area. So it'll take a lot of that out for you. But yeah, keg steel or a little vapor steel is a great way to get started, and it won't break the bank. That's around 250. The keg steel, you can get kegs for 35, $50. The attachments on top of this probably about 150. So you're going to have about 200 after you do shipping and everything and get everything you need. You're going to have a couple hundred in that, and a couple of hundred, 250 in this. A little bit bigger, a little easier to clean because you can take that whole lid off and get down there and scrub and clean. But both of them make good liquor. Both of them work just fine, especially for beginners and intermediates. So if you're wanting to do a combination, see, this is fine. So at the very top of this pot, you'll see these two little red valves, and you'll see right at the base of this football, you'll see a wing nut there. That wing nut is loosening a tri-clamp, and this basically has a 2-inch ferrule. Well, that's a 2.5-inch ferrule on the top, and it's just a method of joining two ferrules to each other with a gasket in between them. And it makes it modular. So you can take that football off and you can add I thought I had everything in the same. Then you can add this column on top of it. Now it's a 4-inch, so you'll have to go from 2.5 to 4. But you could put this column on top of it with bubble plates and make vodka. And well, you're going to have elbows and everything. So you can put some reducers on there, or you can get a little bit smaller. But run it through a column like that with a deflagmator at the top of it, and you pull 190 proof all day, nice and clean, and make outstanding vodka. And then you can put that football head back on there with some copper mesh inside the football and make good brandies and whiskeys. That's like a whiskey helmet, like a whiskey head, So very versatile setup. So you can, with that ferrule system on there, it makes it very versatile. It's like Lincoln Logs or Legos. You can just infinite ways that you can configure things, right? Very, very modular. Way to go. And the same with the top of the keg. That's a 2-inch ferrule on top of that. So with both of those, you'll have pretty good, ability to upgrade. They're very modular and great for beginners. And, if you have the keg steel, one of the beauties in it is it can be sitting in the corner and people look at it and say, oh, there's no beer keg sitting over there. Wouldn't think anything about that being a moonshine steel, just sitting there like it is, unless you had the column on there or something. But so cool. Yeah. I don't have it saved, and I've got that saved on my Facebook thing. I think I can. Yeah, I don't know if I just have these saved in, but yeah. Steven's got some awesome setups, man. Yeah. The little blender one is a little bit different. It was a unique. Had the only thing I didn't like about it was having the condenser on top like that, where it got a little bit warm at the top. But they say they work fine, put out decent proof. But I like the football real well. Those do well, and they're very modular, so you can add onto those and build off that. And basically, you got a stainless pot with a ferrule on it. What more could you ask for? 18.5 gallon with a ferrule on it. You can unclamp it. Make sure though, have had a friend of mine that didn't get his clamp on just right. And again, when I talked about earlier, Don't walk away from the still. He went out and had a cigarette, and he came back in and had a fire going, right? And fortunately, he had a fire extinguisher, or he would have lost his garage, or maybe more that night. So, but make sure that the wires are going into your clamp, and always check everything. It's like flying a plane. You got to go around and check everything. And like an 18-wheeler truck, got to do your multi-point inspection before each ride. And you want to do the same thing with your steel. Yeah, I've done a lot of modifications on mine as well. I might have some of those saved in my screenshots, Stephen. Let me look and see here. Hello, Miss Tammy. How are you? Are you feeling better? Didn't you crack your hip? Was it you telling me you cracked your hip a week or two ago? I remember you saying something. You broke a leg, or I hope you're feeling better. Let's see, Stephen. I try to keep my drive clean. Yeah, here's the 3-pots I was talking about Vever has. It's got a bad reputation on these. They're decent stainless pots. If you want to buy a bulkhead ferrule, you can put one on these. Decent little pots, but they put the thumper, which is way undersized, and the condenser, which is way undersized, right on top. And it required a lot of work. You can make these work out well. You can make them work. They work fine, but it's going to require some modifications because it's just not good the way it is. But let me see here. Here's a different keg steel. Here's a different keg steel. This one is one of those Boca Cobb. That thing right there will produce about 190 proof, man. So if you want to make vodka, that right there do it too. But pretty sophisticated little column there, and it's very slow, very, very slow to produce. Let's see if I can find a. And here's a different edition. You could set that on top of that Vever or on top of a keg and get some pretty high proof out of it. A little column with a deflegmator on the top of it. Nice little setup there. I don't see him, Steve. I'm yawning. Oh my goodness. Tired. Very tired. Here's a decent old steel setup. That's old Philbilly's. Pretty decent setup right there now. That's a nice setup, but that's thousands of dollars out there. But yeah, that's got the infusers, nice coppers, got the bypass on the infusing, double jar rig. Those are half-gallon jars. Pretty nice, man. I love that steel, man. I like the lint arm, the big cap on it. That's a nice little setup right there. Yeah, it's about time for sip. Cracked hip, that's what I thought it was. I'm glad you're getting to feeling better. Here, have a drink on me. That'll make it feel better. If I drink too much, I'm like a crack hip myself. I got steps I go up and down every damn day, bunch of them, multiple times. I'm worried about Ann going up and down them. I don't want her to slip and fall. Should be horrible. Knock on wood, man. Cheers to you, Tim. Hope you're feeling better, hon. Getting awful quiet. You're welcome, Tim. So let's see. I do have a bypass somebody made, man. Now look at that jar rig. Is that nice looking or what? That's some fine looking work right there. But that's some weight on those valves. You really don't need those heavy valves like that. You could use what's called a butterfly valve, and they do a fine job because we only deal with like 3 to 5 psi, in distilling. That's designed for up to 300. Um, so you can get by with the butterfly valve. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Butterfly valve. Here's a simple one. Let's see if I can get that. Shit. Here we go. I was trying to get it to blow up so I could take a little quick screenshot of it. But here's this doesn't even look like it has a ferrule, but it give you an idea. It's basically a valve with just a little plate inside of it. So it's not got a ball valve or anything like that. It's just a little plate with a silicone rim going, and they're pretty lightweight and efficient. They work well for what we do. Let me put that up there for you so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. And they're real lightweight. Because I got some valves just like that for 2 inches, man. Holy, I couldn't believe how much it weighed. But yeah, that's a butterfly right there. And it's just got like a thin plate of metal with a silicone seal all the way around it. And those work real well. And that's what I use on mine. I sent those big heavy ones back because, I mean, that's really nice, but that's got some weight on it. That's probably, is that an inch and a half or 2 inch? I know those valves are heavy and they're not easy to actuate either. So you have to get your little food grade silicone grease to put on those valves on the actual urethane in the middle. But that's sweet looking right there. Nice work. Yeah, definitely. I love over engineering. I over engineer everything I do, man. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. Uh, I did some work on a house that I flipped, and where I didn't have a contractor's license. Then the inspector and the appraiser, which I'm an appraiser, one of the appraisers wanted an inspection on it, so I had to call for a structural inspection. And the inspector comes out and he's like, "Why would they call for an inspection on this? It's like it's built like a tank." He's like, "That's so over engineered. Anybody that knows anything would say you didn't need to go to these lengths to, it's just way over engineered. It's awesome, excellent. Yeah, the house will fall in before that does." And I'm like, "Well, I kind of over engineer everything I do for a reason, but yeah, I tend to overdo things, and that's good. Absolutely better overbuilt than underbuilt for sure, and it'll last forever. That's bulletproof, man. That'll last forever. The jars will break, you just have to replace the jars, but it'll last forever. It's nice work right there. It does get red, man. If you notice, after I drink a few, my nose will start getting a little bit red, especially if it's whiskey. If it's whiskey, it's got wood and tannins, man. I start getting hives. If it is red oak, man, my whole face be red as a beet right there. But yeah, I definitely tell when I'm drinking. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna make some copper ones. I'm gonna do that this summer. I'm gonna build a still. I don't know if I'll do a video or not. I may try to do a little video and speed it up. Yep, let's have us another drink. It's Saturday night. It's getting about 10 o'clock. I think all our newbies have had all their questions asked. I don't see a lot of questions being asked, so we'll drink another shot and I'll probably polish this to my phone. I'll probably polish this thing off. Yeah, I bet you are. Did you get all your stuff in, JJ? That's about 90 proof. Cave Daddy. Good stuff. That's Honey Shine. Thank you, Mike. About out, brother. Got to come have dinner with us again. Go out. And Michelle. A wee dob. Oat corn. I'll tell you what, I've got some good grain. Derek and Joe both made some multi-grain stuff. It's really good. I'm gonna try to keep it so I can put it in a little. I don't know. It probably not gonna be enough to put in a little barrel. I might put some oak staves in there on it though. Yeah, what's old Glea's been up to? Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I know. It's real tough for me to do, man. I'm I tell you though, I'm getting a little hankering for some bourbon. I may have to go pull some off the shelf here in a little bit. I like it. I like it smoked flavor. In fact, I think I'm gonna take this map gas torch I got sitting here and torch me up some staves and stick them in that damn jar tonight. Got it out here. Getting ready to torch it. Staves. That'll do it in a heartbeat too. I like it back there. I'm gonna torch me some staves and put that in there tonight. Within the hour, I'd say. I gotta do it while I'm thinking about why I got motivation to. That's that. Yep, 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 yep. What have you been up to, G Liz? Now, gotta have one of them red hoses. Gotta have a red garden hose now. You can't have one of them green ones. Gotta be red. I got me one of those. Well, I did it for my sprinklers. So when I sprinkle and water my plants and in my garden and my yard, I can keep track of how many gallons I'm doing. But it's you connect it to your garden hose and it runs through and it'll measure how many gallons have passed through it, right? So that's awful handy, when you got like 20 or 40 gallons to fill a pot. You got that little thing on there, and it'll tell you. Now it's accurate within like a quart, or it's going to be pretty close. So it's I don't know. Tom and them, all them talking about the got to have the red garden hose, and I'm like, yeah, don't think about them red garden hoses. Is they turn pink after they sit out in the sun. Nobody wants a pink garden hose. So I kind of made fun of them with the red hose, but I have no. It may be something to do with water, potability, or with when you're using it with a motor at home. I have no idea what the thing, what all the fuss is about it. But I know it's a big joke amongst them all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's a oops. Let me remove that. Here's a nice little. Somebody went out and bought them a 55-gallon drum and welded up or got a bulkhead fitting and added it to it, the lid, and then got them a swan neck and added to it. Made pretty nice little steel there. Gonna heat that with propane. You could get some elements and stick in that too. Couple few, 2 or 3, 5,500 watts. But get that thing going quickly. I don't know. It could be they could be making fun of somebody. Yeah, that's what's wrong with you. I always wondered what the hell it was. Now we know. I'm gonna Google and see if it's. I something here talking about. There's a lot of history behind it. A lot of times they're industrial. They handle higher pressures, and I'm sure there's more to it than that. Hot or red water. Some are rated for hotter water. I don't see nothing there though. Got to get Delaware water from the Potomac. Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there. Right off of Delaware Bay, man. That's some really clean water. That's the cleanest stuff coming right out of New Jersey. Mm. Just make you want to smack your lips, don't it? Mm. I used to cook for a long time too. I started out with a pressure cooker when I was a kid. We rigged up a little quarter, might have been a quarter inch or 3/8. Thought it might have been 3/8 inch copper condenser to it, coil coming off of it. As simple as could be. Then I graduated to a keg steel when I went to college and went to school. And me and my frat buddies, we ran a keg steel, Kappa Alpha keg steel. Yeah, there's a few others that ran it with us, but Yeah, we ran an old keg still. I ran that keg for a long, long time. When I came up with the bypass, I was running the keg. Uh, yeah, like kegs are great. My biggest complaint about them was how hard it was to clean them. But I didn't have 4 or 6 inch ferrules welded to the top where I could get down in there with my arm and scrub it. I didn't have a pressure washer or anything like that. I'd have to take it to the car wash and open the trunk, look, spray it out real quick, dump it, and then throw it back in the trunk. Hope nobody watched, wondering why in the hell I'm cleaning a beer keg. You know, but after that, I talked about that over the years. I heard a lot of creativity on how people clean their beer kegs. Man, some of them go to the trouble of putting little gravels in there and water, and they'll roll it down the hill and let the little gravels scrub the sides. I mean, I've heard so many stories on how I should have done it, man. I've heard some creative ideas, man. It's pretty good. But yeah, that was my biggest complaint about them, was just how to keeping them clean is a little tougher. But now Chesapeake Bay, oh, that's even better. I had a buddy of mine that lived right off Chesapeake, and he worked for the rescue squad, and they were dragging for somebody body, and they finally found it when they pulled him up. It was the dude was covered in crab. He said he could never eat another crab. He never ate another crab in his life after that. He said, "Man, I just couldn't do it, man. Every time I see a crab, somebody eating it, I just see him eating that man's body, and I'll never eat another damn crab." Yeah, that ruined him. That's good stuff. Good limestone water, man. Hell yeah. Take a tote. Yeah, man. Get you a big tote, fill that some bitch up. Just be careful going around curves, because that water, man, it'll move your whole truck around 250, 350 gallons. Yeah, yeah. Car wash. Well, now they got these pressure washers. They got these to fit on the end of the wand, and it shoots out the side, and it spirals, so it's got like it's offset. So when spins around circles, but it shoots out the side instead of coming out the end, it comes out the side. And for side clean, I guess it's to help clear out pipes that are clogged too. So you can feed that hose down an inch and a half or 4 inch, whatever, 3 inch drain pipe, and it'll spray and clean it out. If you got a clog. And but you could do that in a keg, go in and spray out the sidewalls, just in and out, in and out, in and out a few times, you done, man. But it's just a little rotary head, and it'll fit right on the end of a wand or in the end of a hose. Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome, unless you're going to use turkey fiber. If you're doing for electric, that'll be awesome. Have your little drain in the bottom. Pretty slick. Right. You can match your column on it, and you can get your hand in there and scrub. Oh, that's good. That's good. Little pea gravel. Yeah, you go. Yeah, he said after he saw it, man, he couldn't eat another crab. Sip cleaning place. I see what you're talking about. Oh yeah. Cool. All right. So I'm down to my last sippy sip. Man, they used that jar so much, the damn raised lettering on balls about worn off. You just see the B. The ALL's done worn off from a thumb holding that thing. That's a lot of drinking in that jar, ain't it? Thumbs done rubbed off a lettering, man. That's something. I'm gonna keep it. I drank so much out of this jar, I rubbed the ball off the damn glass. All right, y'all. It's about 10:30. I'm getting tired, yawning. Ann's about fall asleep on me back there. I hear her snoring. I know she's listening now. She must be watching her show or something. Well, I guess we're gonna get off here. Getting a little bit slow. I guess everybody's tired as I am. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Popcorn Sutton Jam. I'm not sure if I'll make it fretting or not. I don't know. I missed Hillbilly Days this weekend in Pikeville. I really should have gone to that. They have it every year since 70s, 74, I think it says, 77 maybe. And yeah, it's back home, man. I post a few pics of it too. Play a lot of bluegrass music and clogging in the park. I love it, man. It's just hard for me, with Anna and stuff. She's got to work all damn weekend. She don't get time off, and she gets Friday or Saturday off. I guess we get gone for one day. I should get up here and see everybody and see some old buddies and take them a little moonshine, see what they drinking on. Yeah, definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, hanging out with us, having a little sippy sip. For all you beginners, thanks for tuning in. Brian, good seeing you, brother. So all you beginners that tuned in tonight and they're still listening, love your questions, Mr. B. Let us know what's going on. Join our group on Facebook and bring your questions there. We can help you out. We got files that we can share with you, some recipes that we can share as well, and I can share some more diagrams and stuff, and we can go over everything. I've got a little step-by-step instructional on. I mean, if you can just follow simple instructions, you can do everything. I've gone to painstaking detail on everything that you got to do. All you have to do is just read this. Okay, I need to do this next. And then, all right, I've got to do this. I've got to keep adding a gallon or so every 15, 30 minutes to hold this temperature. And just as long as you can read the thermometer and get the few basic tools that we talk about, hydrometer, thermometer, pH paper, you'll be fine. You'll be able to do anything, and it's simple to do. It's not that scientific. It's like a little science experiment, but it's simple to do. Hell, it's elementary school grade science. It's once you see it done and once you do it, it's Amanda does a hands-on class, and I'd really love to do something like that, but I'm not able to. But that's really the best way to do it. You come in, you spend a couple of days, you get the hands-on experience, and that's it's like a picture's worth 1,000 words. Being able to do hands-on and have somebody instruct you that knows what they're talking about, it's invaluable. And I know those classes like $600. It's a great value. You go spend a couple of days. You got dinner, you got cookouts, you get to meet her and hang out. It's great instructional. Moonshine you use like $6,000. So that's a big difference. Nothing against Patrick. He's a brilliant man, and if it's I guess it's decent too if you got deep pockets and you work for a distillery or something and you're going to send your employees there or something like that. I guess, but yeah, it's good to have that hands on. So this detailed thing is it's next to that, but just can't do the hands-on. May do some videos, but yeah, if you can ever catch one of Amanda's classes, it'd be awesome. She does them all over. I know she does them in Pennsylvania and Tennessee and all in between. So if you could schedule one of those, I would definitely recommend it, because great people, very, very knowledgeable gal. And again, you get that hands-on, and you can see exactly. When I talk about gelatinizing corn, it's hard for me to explain it to the point where you just can't see it. But if you can see it, and I guess that's what he's talking about, corn pudding, gelatinous and all that. So yeah, if you got an opportunity to do that, if you can afford it and got time to do it, I highly recommend it. It'd be a great bucket list. I know Ann and I are going to we're going to make it. We're going to do one. We just got to find a good time. But definitely, I try to detail everything, but it just, other than just getting you and saying, all right, I'll come do it for you. That's about as close as you're going to get. And it's very simple to follow. So join the group, download it. Let me see what it's called. I can't remember. It's some simple straining, or hell, I can't remember. Let me find it. Let me see what I call it. Simple steeping method or something like that's the name of it. It should be near the top. But yeah, you just go to files and start going down. Simple steps for beginners mashing corn using steep method. .txt. It's a text file. You can open it up on anything, your phone or anything. There's also a PDF book with 110 recipes from Stampede Steels that has quite a few good recipes in there. And, get you some thin mash or something going. But we got Mash Bills 202, so you can find out what your favorite bourbon or whiskey is, what percentage of grains there's doing. We got all kinds of pretty good files in there, and I need to add more. I got probably 50, 70 in here. I've got thousands on my PC. So yeah, I got my work cut out for me. There's a lot. But Clint, I sent you a list. I sent you an invite. We'll work it out sometime this week if you can join those groups, and we'll work out. It doesn't necessarily have to end up being all those groups, but I think if you can do the ones I sent you, the list, and join the groups that I sent. And if y'all get an invite from Clint, accept him, damn it. Don't make him jump through hoops. Make sure you answer the questions, though. Yeah, I appreciate having y'all here. Yeah, I definitely want to come up here and do some walleye fishing. That's for sure, brother. Definitely want to go fishing. Definitely. So this spring, I definitely want me some walleye. I love walleye, man. That's one of my favorite fish. It's probably my favorite fish to eat, really. Love them. But anyway, good seeing everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back on Tuesday. Let me see what day it's going to be. Tuesday the 21st. And yeah, hopefully one of these days soon we'll get Amanda on here, and she can answer some questions for you and join us for a little show. That'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, until then, good seeing everybody. Thanks for tuning in. There's Curtis. Good to see you, brother. So we'll see y'all Tuesday. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe, be sober, and, well, not too sober, but if you have to drive, be sober. But we'll see you Tuesday, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you. Wait, play outro. No, I don't want no outro. Remove. What in the hell, Damon? Shit. Anyway, we'll see y'all. Shine on. Peace out.